Imagine you're exploring the open world, maybe completing a quest or gathering materials. Suddenly, you stumble upon a cave, something you've done countless times before in your favorite MMO. But what if instead of just a simple cave, you find an expansive underground cavern filled with puzzles and bosses, a fresh adventure waiting for you to delve into? What I'm describing is potentially the next big feature in World of Warcraft, delves. And in this video, I want to discuss my hopes and worries about this new piece of open world explorable content. It's no secret that WoW has drawn inspiration from other games. From the very beginning, the game was heavily influenced by Warhammer, evident in its art and theme. Adopting successful elements from other games and putting a Warcraft spin on them has led to both great and not so great features. Player housing is a staple in almost all MMOs, yet Blizzard has never fully embraced it. Garrisons introduced in Warlords of Draenor were a notable attempt. While they weren't the player housing we wanted, they offered a form of personalized content. However, the lack of customization and the inability to make them feel like a true home limited their appeal. Despite their potential, Blizzard never expanded on them after Warlords of Draenor, leaving our garrisons to gather dust in Shadowmoon Valley and Frostfire Ridge. Class order halls were another attempt at a similar concept, and they were widely loved. Whether you were a shaman sitting on the edge of the Maelstrom or a paladin in the secret sanctum beneath Light's Hope Chapel, these halls allowed players to immerse themselves in their class fantasy. Yet, like garrisons, they too were left behind after their respective expansion had ended. Then there were Island Expeditions and Torghast, which I believed are predecessors of delves, but I'll touch on that a bit more later. Blizzard doesn't abandon all of its ideas though. Mythic Plus Dungeons bears a resemblance to the difficulty scaling 5-man dungeon system known as Fractals in Guild Wars 2. Since its introduction in Legion, Mythic Plus has been consistently expanded and is now a core pillar of in-game content. Another feature clearly inspired by Guild Wars 2 is Dragon Riding. Now rebranded as Sky Riding, anyone familiar with the Griffin or Skyscale mounts from Guild Wars 2 will immediately notice the similarities. But this isn't a bad thing. Dragon Riding is one of the best new features World of Warcraft has added in years, and I'm thrilled that it's being expanded to include regular flying mounts in the next expansion. So what does all this have to do with delves? Well, if you've ever completed a public dungeon in Elder Scrolls Online, or a mini dungeon or jumping puzzle in Guild Wars 2, you could say these features sound familiar. These are my favorite forms of open world explorable content that these games have to offer, which builds on my excitement for delves. Exploration is what I love in these games. The philosophy of the world is the main character is what Azeroth was initially built on. My hope is that delves can bring us back to that, if only in a small way. So what exactly are delves? In World of Warcraft's new expansion, delves are designed to be small-scale, instanced adventures that players can encounter while exploring the open world. Delves can be tackled solo, with the help of a customizable companion, or with a small group. Players can customize their NPC companion to fulfill different roles. The customization adds a strategic layer to gameplay, allowing players to adapt to different challenges within the delves. This flexibility makes them accessible for players who enjoy solo content and those who prefer to play with friends. Blizzard has already said they plan to add more companions to the future, further adding to the customization of the system. Delves are not timed, allowing players to explore at their own pace. This makes them perfect for solo players who enjoy taking their time to uncover every secret and complete every objective. Unlike traditional dungeons, delves are seamlessly integrated into the open world, encouraging exploration and adding a sense of discovery as players stumble upon these hidden adventures while questing or exploring. Each delve features a unique environment filled with puzzles, traps, and hidden treasures, ensuring that no two delves feel the same and keeping the experience fresh and exciting. This sounds great on paper, but if we look back at Island Expeditions, we see that it did not exactly turn out that way. Islands were supposed to be a new, fun form of in-game content, where no two runs would be the same. However, over time, the content became stale. Despite the variations in enemies or objectives, the overall experience felt repetitive. It lacked the sense of adventure and exploration that was initially promised. Coupled with a frustrating RNG reward system, Island Expeditions ultimately left Battle for Azeroth players feeling unhappy. It was another system with great potential that was left behind once its expansion concluded. Torghast seemed to be Blizzard's next attempt at this type of content. Designed as a more solo player focused feature, it introduced various fun buffs and abilities, similar to the popular roguelike games at the time. This initially made it dynamic and enjoyable. However, the repetitive nature of running through the same corridors and fighting the same enemies quickly became boring. Additionally, the necessity of completing Torghast for in-game progression earned it the nickname Chorghast, leading to its decline in popularity. What started as a feature players enjoyed eventually fell short. Now, I believe delves represent the third generation of this form of content. Though each previous iteration differed, together they feel similar to what delves proposed to be. Yet I'm not convinced that they will avoid the same pitfalls and maintain player interest beyond their initial release, as seen with Island Expeditions and Torghast. Before we delve deeper into that concern, let's compare delves to Guild Wars 2 and Elder Scrolls Online to see how they stack up against these established forms of open world content. Public dungeons in Elder Scrolls Online are designed for both players and small groups. They offer a mix of exploration, combat, and puzzles, though the experience is less tailored compared to other games. While ESO does have NPC companions, they are not a core part of the public dungeon experience. These dungeons are a public space within the open world, which means other players can interfere with your adventure. Typically, ESO's public dungeons combine combat challenge with exploration. In Guild Wars 2, many dungeons and jumping puzzles are often designed for solo players, but can be enjoyed with friends as well. The emphasis here is on environmental puzzles and tricky terrain that players need to navigate. There's minimal to no involvement of NPC companions. These activities are scattered throughout the open world, enhancing the sense of discovery, and are focused on solving puzzles and navigating challenging landscapes. In terms of key comparisons, WoW's delves offer flexibility for both solo and small group play with customizable NPCs. ESO's public dungeons also support solo and group play, but utilize companions that are not a core part of the public dungeon system. Guild Wars 2 emphasizes solo exploration with minimal to no NPC involvement. Environmentally, WoW provides a unique setting and integrates delves seamlessly into the open world, similar to Guild Wars 2's scattered mini-dungeons and jumping puzzles. ESO's public dungeons are more communal and less tailored to individual experiences. Integration-wise, both WoW and Guild Wars 2 incorporate activities into the open world, enhancing exploration. In contrast, ESO's public dungeons, being a part of the open world, can be influenced by the presence of other players. Now let's talk about the reward structures at Endgame and how delves might keep players engaged beyond the initial excitement. ESO and Guild Wars 2 offers rewards like crafting materials, achievements, and cosmetics. However, they fall short in the terms of in-game progression. WoW's delves, on the other hand, provide similar rewards but stand out with their scaling difficulties. Much like the Mythic Plus system, higher tiers of delves offer even greater rewards, including gear on par with Mythic Plus dungeons and heroic raids. This introduces a new pillar of endgame content, providing a more casual option for players who want to continue progressing without the intensity of high-level raids or dungeons. While everything about delves sounds promising, my concern is that over time the content might become stale and repetitive, like Island Expeditions and Torghast before it. The optional nature of delves, the in-game gear, and the scaling difficulty may keep players engaged beyond the initial excitement. However, the biggest potential hook for players at the endgame could be the desire to speedrun delves at increasingly higher levels, allowing them to aspire to become the best delver of all time. Through various iterations and inspiration from other games, delves seamlessly blends the excitement of dungeon crawling with the freedom of open world exploration. They provide solo players with challenging and rewarding content that can be enjoyed at their own pace. So only time will tell what will become of delves, but as long as Blizzard continues to build on this feature, it has the potential to become one of the most beloved aspects of World of Warcraft. Whether you are a lone wanderer or an avid explorer, delves offer an adventure you don't want to miss. I want to thank everyone for watching. This has been a topic I've wanted to discuss for a while now, and I'm glad I finally get to share it with you all. So if you enjoyed this style of video, please consider giving it a like. And if you want to continue exploring more MMOs with me in the future, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.